Hello everyone. Today I'm going to do another basic guide talking about dual wielding. This is a topic I've seen a lot of confusion about and some misinterpretations, so I thought it'd be good to kind of clear up the air and describe the rules a little bit better. So let's actually take a look at the section of the rules talking about dual wielding. So here's the section, and I wanted to go through and talk about it piece by piece. So the first line says, when you are wielding a weapon in each hand, no weapons or some combination of either. You are considered to be dual wielding. Now this line in particular is messy, and the main reason is you're always either holding a weapon in each hand or no weapons. In fact, this includes things like shields, which really shouldn't count because that's not what it means by no weapons. In reality, this should be read something like when you are wielding a weapon in each hand or have a free hand or some combination of either. So really what we're going to see as the viable options here is having two weapons, being fully unarmed, or having one weapon and one open hand. Doesn't matter which hand has which, there's not a thing as a dominant hand, so you don't have to care about what's in your right hand or left hand. That's irrelevant. So this is what it needs to set up dual wielding. So what do you actually get for dual wielding? Well, while you're dual wielding, when you make an attack with one hand, followed by an attack by your other hand, you get to make a second attack that ignores the multiple check penalty, right? So you have to attack with one hand and then the other. The followed by here suggests that the attacks have to happen consecutively, one right after the other, with nothing happening in between. And I think this is probably the safest interpretation, but I will admit that this is a little bit ambiguous. Some people just assume that this is at any time during your turn, you just have to make another attack. But I think the best interpretation is basically immediately afterwards, no actions or minor actions in between. Just attack and then another attack. You can obviously add things to your attack like maneuvers or a spell strike that are going to enhance the attack, but it does suggest that you need to make an attack and then another attack. So the benefit, the payoff is that the second attack ignores the multiple check penalty. And this is worded in a way that doesn't give you the full picture. In reality, it doesn't just ignore the multiple check penalty, it also doesn't advance the multiple check penalty. It's safe to assume that anytime something says that you ignore the multiple check penalty, you aren't advancing it either. So this means that your second attack basically comes for free. No matter what the multiple check penalty was, it's not going to be affected by it, and it's not going to contribute to it. And so the important part to add on to this is that you can only ignore the multiple check penalty in this way once per turn. I've seen a lot of people think that if you have secondary arms, you have 4 arms, which means you have 3 dual wielding attacks that you can make. This isn't true. There are some gimmicks with secondary arms, like being able to wield 2 versatile weapons and still count as dual wielding. But the reality is that you can still only do a dual wielding attack once per turn, regardless of how many hands you have and how many attacks you might be able to make. So the final thing to look at here is the DC tip. The DC tip says that if you have mastery with light shields, you can use a light shield in place of a weapon for the purposes of dual wielding. So at the beginning, when I said it should say something like wielding a weapon in each hand, free hands, or some combination of either, you can actually think of a light shield as counting as a weapon for the purposes of dual wielding. You can still dual wield even if you're holding 2 light shields or a light shield and a weapon, or having an open hand and a light shield. So light shields are basically as good as a weapon for whether you qualify as dual wielding or not. And that just about wraps up dual wielding. It's relatively straightforward. It's just one paragraph in the rules, but it is a paragraph that I've seen a lot of people get confused over because there is some ambiguous wording. Anyways, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and until the next time, have the best time.